Welcome back to the lead pile. In this video, we're painting up this Iron Hills Warrior banner bearer from Davale Games. So the first thing we're going to do after we've applied a base coat and a zenithal highlight is I'm just going to slap on a load of Guilliman Flesh contrast paint to all of the skin areas on the model. Once this is finished, I'm then going to take my lead belcher, of course you can use any kind of silver metal colour, and I'm going to paint in all of the armour. That's the chainmail and the plate pieces as well. So next, I'm just taking a brown colour. This is Wild Wood contrast paint. But of course you can use any shade of brown that you like. And I'm just going to carefully paint in all of the banner pole and any other areas I fancy doing in brown or leather. Once I've finished that, I'm now taking a dark red shade, so this one is Corn Red from Games Workshop, and I'm painting in all of the cloth areas, and that's going to be the base tunic around his kind of skirt kilt area, and then also I'm going to paint in the banner as well. Of course, use whatever colour you're using as your primary shade. Once I've done that, I'm now going to paint the brightest part of this model, and I've chosen to use a kind of teal turquoise colour because I think it goes quite well with the red. And this is Daily Emerald from Games Workshop. It is a contrast paint, and I'm just carefully painting that on for the belt or sash kind of area. And this is going to again provide nice contrast with the red. And so now comes the trickiest part of this model, and of course it's entirely optional, and I am using brazen brass here. Of course you could use gold as well, and I'm just going to carefully pick out all of the edges and kind of side plates on the metal armour. And what I'm doing here is I'm just basically using this gold colour to provide a bit of fine detail to the armour, and take your time with it. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. You can easily paint over it with the chainmail or the red. So you can leave the model here, but if you want to take it up a step, we're going to apply some highlights. And the first highlight we're going to use is Mephiston Red, and we're going to apply this over all of the raised areas of the flag and the folds on the tunic as well. So now comes the easy part. We're going to slap a wash, in this case Agrax Earthshade, all over the model, especially getting it into those metal recesses. With that done, we're now going to focus our attention on this dwarf's hair, and I'm going to leave it white. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take white scar and I'm just going to gently paint in some of the more raised areas, just so it stands out from that original zenithal. Next, we're going to apply some highlights to this dwarf's face, and I'm going to use Kislev Flesh. I'm just watering this down so it's nice and thin, and I'm just gently applying this over the raised areas of his forehead, nose and cheeks. Now this is a bit of a tedious part, but again, totally optional. I like to use a bit of Stormhost Silver here and just dot on to the different sections of scale mail, basically, just to add some highlight and definition there. And you can also highlight up the rest of his armor plates as well. Once you've done that, I'm going to basically move on to the base now, and I'm giving it a base coat of Abandoned Black. Of course, you could use anything you want really here. And then I'm just going to use Dawnstone to paint in the rock that he's standing on. Then I'm going to use Mournfang Brown, and I'm going to paint up the dirt in between the rocks. And once I've done that, I'm just going to take a dry brush and use a lighter shade. In this case, I'm using Karak Stone, and I'm just going to use that to lightly dry brush over the entire base, just to pick out those raised areas. And with that, our dwarf is done. I hope you enjoyed this speed paint tutorial. I think it's turned out quite well. I like the white hair. I think it's fitting that the oldest, most bravest veteran dwarf would be the banner bearer. And if you've painted any dwarfs, post a picture in the comments.